If the QD of a product changes more than the price change, then the product is
strong choice. Elastic is the right answer.
Which of the following is an example of companies in monopolistic competition?
Sharp thinking. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime is the right choice.
all buyers and sellers have sufficient information to maximize self-interest.
Great job. Perfect competition is the accurate answer. It is illegal for oligopolies to exert some control over price through dash. Well picked. Collusion is the correct answer. The benefit to private businesses or individuals is shown in the curve dash. Excellent. Mumpy is a brilliant choice. Firms in this kind of market produce goods that are very close substitutes. Valid point. Monopolistic competition is true. American businessman based in Cleveland and founder of Standard Oil Company. Smart pick. John D. Rockefeller is the correct choice.
Market structure in which a few very large sellers dominate the industry.
Nice work. You chose oligopoly and it is correct.
Factors that make it difficult for new firms to enter a market are called
Great thinking. Barriers to entry is the right choice. Which market structure did John D. Rockefeller's oil industry fall under? Correct response. Monopoly is the most accurate answer.
This market structure has 3-4 firms who dominate 60-80% of the industry.
Solid response. Oligopoly is a valid choice.
In this market structure, products are similar, but have some differences.
Perfect. Monopolistic competition is the correct choice.
If as the price of a product increases, increases, then the product is.
You chose inelastic, and it is correct.
What happens to demand when the government puts a cap on rental prices?
Well reasoned. It goes up significantly is the correct choice. Which of the following is not a characteristic of perfect competition? Well done. Low barriers to entry is the right choice. Things that are for our collective well-being are funded by our dash. Exactly. Government makes sense and it is right choice. A market structure in which a few large firms dominate a market dash. Right again. Oligopoly is a valid answer. A price floor is a government set price dash equilibrium, like dash. On track. Above minimum wage is the correct answer. Who tries to prevent market failures due to negative externalities?
Right choice. The government is the best answer.
Which of the following is not an example of an inelastic product?
Nicely done. Chevy Trucks is a solid answer.
The Cleveland Cavaliers are an example of which type of monopoly?
You're right. Geographic is the correct answer. A farmer's market is the best example of which market structure? Good thinking. Perfect competition is the right answer.
A large number of cars polluting the air could be an example of
Bravo. Negative externalities is the answer. Which of the following industries is an example of a monopoly? Clear logic. Your choice utilities water is sound and 100% true.
The US Postal Service is an example of which type of monopoly? Excellent choice. Government monopoly is the right answer.
A price ceiling is set dash equilibrium and results in a dash.
Good job. Your answer below. Shortage works well here.
If a product has many substitutes, then the product is likely.
Correct. Elastic is the right answer.
What market structure would agricultural products fall into?
Smart move. Perfect competition is an accurate answer.
A market that has a few sellers of basically the same goods?
You got it. Your choice oligopoly is right.
Which market structure involves selling identical products?
Nice selection. Perfect competition is the correct and valid answer.
Private businesses cannot always provide goods and services.
Correct. All of the above is the right answer.
Only 5 firms produce this product in the United States.
Correct response. Oligopoly is the most accurate answer.
Selling your old computer on Amazon could be an example of.
Nicely done. Asymmetric information is a solid answer.
Which of the following is an example of a common resource?
Nice selection. Fish in the ocean is the correct and valid answer.
In which market structure is there the least competition?
You chose monopoly, and it is correct.
Regulatory policies are rules established by dash decree.
Well done. Government is the right choice. A power company is an example of which type of monopoly?
Perfect. Natural monopoly is the correct choice.
Businesses can collude or work together to set prices.
Good job. Your answer oligopoly works well here.
What is the name of people who benefit without paying?
Great job. Free riders is the accurate answer.
An industry that is dominated by a few large firms is.
Good thinking. An oligopoly is the right answer.
At the price, neither a surplus or a shortage exists.
Excellent choice. Equilibrium is the right answer.
Which is not an example of a government safety net? Nice work. You chose consumer safety, and it is correct.
How many firms are there in a perfect competition?
Right again. Many is a valid answer.
Goods and services provided by the government dash.
Bravo, public goods is the answer.
Under which market structure are prices lowest?
Strong choice. Perfect competition is the right answer.
Laws that encourage competition in the market?
Valid point. Antitrust laws is true.
One single firm controls the entire industry.
Smart pick. Monopoly is the correct choice.
A market in which a single seller dominates.
Smart move. Monopoly is an accurate answer.
Private benefits plus external benefits is?
You're right. Social benefits is the correct answer.
Products that are offered are identical in.
Clear logic. Your choice perfect. Competition is sound and 100% true.
Which is not an example of a public good.
On track. Oil is the correct answer.
An example of a negative externality is
Right choice. Pollution is the best answer.
How many firms are there in a monopoly?
Exactly. One makes sense and it is right choice.
an example of a public good is dash.
Excellent. All answers are correct is a brilliant choice. A price ceiling will result in a sharp thinking. Shortage is the right choice.
A price floor will result in a
You got it. Your choice surplus is right.
Windows 10 is an example of a
solid response. Technological monopoly is a valid choice.
Patents are an example of a
Well-reasoned. Technological monopoly is the correct choice.
public goods are
Great thinking. Non-rival and non-excludable is the right choice.
surplus.
well picked. QSQD is the correct answer. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format?
Right choice. Contact Narayan Changda is the best answer.